Hey everyone, how are you? This is Ron Couming coming to you live on the Success Secrets Revealed TV show, so to speak. It's a live stream. I put this show together because during the COVID crisis, my radio station, which is Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ronald Couming, and I love to say 1.7 million reach. Currently, the radio station isn't manning the they're not having people come in, so they're running reruns. So I put together, I've been blessed to travel across the country and meet some amazing people. So I'm going to do these live interviews. I'm going to strip out the audio. I'm going to send the audio to the radio station so they can run them instead of running reruns. But we get to listen and learn and be educated from the best, most intelligent people out there right now. And today is no exception. Today we got Berny Dohrmann. He's the founder of what Forbes and Inc are called #1 must-attend business conference year after year event. By trade, Berny is an investment banker, economist, and he has run a public Wall Street investment banking firm prior to his 30-plus years with CEO Space International. What is CEO Space International, you ask? Well, CEO Space teaches up-and-coming entrepreneurs through up-close and personal interactions with the CEO Space faculty, who are made up of real-world, proven and vetted CEOs and business owners. These experts are educated from a position of experience, success, and help problem-solving solutions, from everything on how to raise capital to growth strategies and mindset. Every faculty member has been vetted and researched through a due diligence process, which is one of the things that separates CEO Space from every other company. When you come to CEO Space, when you become a CEO Space member, you will not only be inspired, but you will leave feeling both nurtured and empowered. Now we're going to bring on Berny. Berny, how are you?
I'm so great to be here. Thank you. And as you know, BernyDohrmann.com also has 1 million plus clicks a day and has become, since December, the pandemic super site for a business owner or a professional in practice, because this is going on a little longer than you thought, and it's really confusing. What do you do? And we're #1 in the world, serving 200 countries. We're going to tell you what to do. And tomorrow, I don't know when you're hearing this, but you could go to CEO Space International and sign up. And what do you sign up for? $950. That credits a lifetime membership. And we build Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, new customers, new clients. We network you. It's not a webinar. You're in networking pods. All owners. Everybody's an owner helping other owners. And we get more business done and completed. And we walk you through creating a pandemic prosperity plan. So your marketing message, your branding outreach, your social, how you're prospecting, all shifts to the new market. And you're ahead of it instead of a victim of it. Ahead of it instead of a victim of it. From the industry leader, the press in New York ranks #1 in the world. So this show's a little peppy because we're telling you what's coming in pandemic, which you're not going to hear unless you read that blog.
I love it. And you kind of like jumped ahead, but I'm glad you did, because it just proves and shows the impact of following.
Ron, I want to ask you a question. We just published, data and films.
Right.
That SmithKline, the large pharmaceutical company, patented research on coronavirus in 2006 and did trials and got a coronavirus vaccine before 2010 and patented it all over the world. Does that make you a little mad? Why weren't they out in front in December saying we got a vaccine? Are they waiting for the $1 trillion?
Well, we can certainly. There's a whole bunch of things going on with this coronavirus, including the president's Dr. Fauci. I believe I was watching a video today where he allocated, and again, this is what I've read. I'm assuming it's accurate. 3.7 million, because there was some funding that was no longer allowed legally, morally, and ethically in the United States. So they then sent it to China, to this Wuhan lab, funded it, But because it wasn't on American soil, I guess it complied with the law. And so there's a whole lot about where and how this came from.
Well, and you asked China because, did they release it as a bioweapon or did they release it accidentally? But you ask yourself two questions. Is it natural or is it a bioweapon? And we gave you 20 attributes of a virus that can't be natural from this event. So you decide yourself. But when you decide one way or the other, ask yourself, why did China, forget the cover up y'all know about, why did China not give the raw samples of the original virus before it mutated? Because that controls all further mutations. The mother virus. Why didn't they give who asked for it in December, January, February, March, April? Who didn't send a team in till the first week of March to Wuhan? Why does this guy stay head of this agency when he didn't have a team on the ground in December? And he never got the raw virus. He can't get it. Who can't get it from China? Who's a WHO member? How horrible is that? Why would they withhold that from the world?
I agree with you, and we can get into that. But I just wanted to, before we go off on a tangent, and we had 6 people, but they all bounced in that 2 minutes. But they need to hear this as well. But some of the things is, and I'm definitely I'm one, the response to this, how it came about. To me, it's less people have died from the flu than have died from coronavirus.
Well, that's not an accurate statement, because what that is the flu affects 1 billion people a year. If coronavirus affected 1 billion people, the death rate would be much greater than the flu. So the percentage per 100 infected of deaths is much greater with coronavirus. It's like 500% greater. So as a killer, and what virus? The flu doesn't target the elderly and have 80% kill rate if you're 70.
Right. But now, again, I don't want this all to be about the coronavirus. This is success secrets revealed. But to go with that, just in hindsight, you're correct. But with the coronavirus right now, the testing they're only testing high risk and targeted people. Once they go out and they just blanket test it, the death rate, I believe, will come down, because they're going to test a ton more people, then a ton more people are going to come back positive, and they're just going to have, runny nose, and they're going to be sick. So the death rate is going to be less than 1% in short order. But the effect, which is the same as the seasonal flu, but the effect on the economy and business owners and entrepreneurs is devastating, and that's what I would love.
Do you think they should have just let it burn through? Do our lives and give us the best practices and keep business and everything going, and just let those that die and let it burn through humanity? Because they're saying all this social separation is killing our herd immunization that we develop always naturally. And we're not developing herd immunization while we're separate. So now we got to go through this until we get it. We got to either get a vaccine or get herd immunization.
Well, again, there's so many different,
We'll leave the topic and just say everybody knows it's a mess. And what do you have to do as a business leader to win? And so, one, you have to look at some realities, in our opinion. The market is changing. I wrote the book. It's a global bestseller, 5-star bestseller this year, called Super Change, because you're in the largest super change event of your lifetime. And leaders have to divide. 80% are victims of super change. They just can't keep up, and they're obsolete in trying. Others have upgraded their tools. I call them the leaders of tomorrow, and they embrace super change and win inside it. But what I want you to buy into is the markets you knew in 2019 are dead and buried. And they're being buried by millions upon millions upon millions losing their job every week. That's just in the United States, 1 billion worldwide. All that income, trillions of spending just stopping. And so we have to look at going to the market that's a new market. And what are you doing to make sure your product and service is crafted? I'm saying the Christmas paper of how you market and what you say about your product as solution has to change because the old benefit marketing has to be put in with some nuances to how people in their fear states are today. You've got to hit them so you're a solution they can't delay in accepting. You have the right solution they should opt in and get right now, whether that's play, entertainment, a sex toy, or a hard service or a law firm. I don't care what it is. You've got to change your marketing message just a bit. I mean, I saw an ad from SunTrust. You and I both love that company. And they had all this flu and pandemic scenes all over the country, kind of American heroes. You know, things like the worst of our lives brings out the best of our futures. Signs like that. And it was just humans and all of us. It was American film. And at the end it says, we're always out there for you, SunTrust. And it made you feel hope and promise. And what are they doing? They changed their message with their advertising firm. They connected to where we are today. And they gave us a relief that we thank them for. We'll be loyal to them. We'll trust that brand because they gave us a gift. And we have to think, what's your gift? What are you giving? And I don't want to keep, I want to answer your questions, but I really want business owners to they have to upgrade their marketing message to the new post-pandemic market. The new post-pandemic market is like nothing this generation's seen. It's more like 1929 coming out of that for a lot of the world.
Yeah, I think that people's marketing, I don't think people should slow down their marketing at all. Right now is the time for them to
click to pay markets, really get out your ad copy, test. It's low cost to get high returns, and people at home will buy if the message is right. That's what we're doing next week, Tuesday to Saturday. CEO Space gathers owners together, and we network you and redo your marketing messages with the best advertising firms we can bring in who volunteer to mentor you, coach you, work one-on-one. They work privately with you because you can't work in group. You need one-on-one mentors to help you craft your plan. It's got to be customized just for you, and you need to make it. And, I'm saying if CEO Space at 950 isn't the answer, find yours, find the best place. Ron is a suite of services. We do the same things. He's right on the same page. Use Ron's solutions because he's doing the same thing we're doing. He's upgrading your messaging. He's making sure what's the biggest cost if you delay using Ron, for example. Delay is the biggest cost you can't pay.
Loss of
opportunity is what you can't pay.
Yep.
Not in today's market. If you want to spring forward, get some help, get your mentors to find you. Ron is one of the best. We endorse Ron at CEO Space. Use Ron and his team because what will come out of it is you'll be ahead of the super change, and we call it pandemic prosperity. You will prosper in any market. Hey, we're the entrepreneurs and professionals in practice. We will profit in any market, but we need a little guidance when the markets change on how.
Absolutely. And I love it. And thank you for that. And I'm also a CEO Space member too, so I highly recommend CEO Space. But my question is a couple of questions. Right now, I agree with 100%. People have got to stay and focus on their marketing, but their messaging should change a little bit. And I love how you talked about earlier about how they're a solution. So how to craft and convey their MVP. What makes them different? What makes them? Why should somebody hire them over a potential competitor? Right. So what is their value proposition? So that type of messaging in today's environment, we have a lot of people who, I got doomsday. I got people all the way to one side telling me it's over, business is done. And then I got other people, it's like, well, we'll be back up and running in 3 to 6 weeks. And business has changed, but, we're still going to
as you mentioned, I'm an investment banker economist. Yep. We predicted on my website, bernydohrmann.com, the 1987 stock market crash, the 2000 dot-bomb crash, the 9/11 recession and how to get through it, and the 2007, our people hired when others were firing. They hired when others were firing. The market doesn't affect you if you upgrade your leadership skill. If your software is 2019
Yep.
You're going to have trouble in this market. Now, Tony Robbins and I are in an ongoing debate. I won the first round, though. I won the first round. Tony sent me the voice file, where he goes, look, I'll give you this. I've tracked you for 40 years. And on the economics, you're never wrong. So I give you the economics of this are probably what you're saying. The health effects are what I'm saying, which is what you're saying, Ron, that the percentages, that the blow up of this, so is this blown out of proportion, or is the real data of sliding stats? Like if you're 30 or down, it's the flu or less. If you're 40 or up, it's worse than the flu. If you're 50 or up, it's one of the worst things that we've had recently. If you're 60 and up, it's the worst contagion in human history. If you're 60 and up, and I am. So I understand.
You're not 60, brother. You're 29, aren't you?
Yeah, my wife looks at me and goes, you're not going out anywhere. And she's like, she's keeping my health first of the deal. I've never, I traveled. I started like Tony at 18 years old, going out on world speaking tours and never came off the tour. It's like a rocks tour that never stopped. And I've been 300 days out speaking on stages all over the world forever. And this is the most time I've had home. I thank God for this pandemic. I'm having the greatest time with my dog and my children. I forgot I'm a father. My God, I get to be with them. The kids made dinner last night for Dad. They were so excited.
Nice. And you get a little extra sleep. But coming out of this, right? I mean, while people are in it, their type of marketing, they do need to change their messaging. And they do need to change their copy. And I love how you talked about try it, test it, and tweak it. You can do $5 ads on Facebook. I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of organic, because you actually own your marketing, your placement, opposed to renting it. But when you're trying to figure out what's working, so you can then go to the place of owning it, I think that's a great idea. Do some Facebook ads, $5-10 a day for a week,
Absolutely.
a month if you can afford it. It's $150 at $5 a day.
But what we're doing next week, and this is what we reached all over the world, because how you do test marketing, very low cost at Google as a strategy, is entirely different than how you do it on LinkedIn. And that's entirely different than you do it on Facebook.
Absolutely, totally different.
Facebook advisors that are on their algorithm advisory committees, and Google's. We had to go to London to get our Google expert that was the best of the best alive, and LinkedIn. And then we teach the owners of a business so they don't have to look at 100 YouTube videos and learn in one, skill transfer to you. Here's how you test in these markets.
Yep.
So now you understand the criteria for the differences. And what I always say, because you just went through the cost, Ron, use all three. For instance, what I do when I test 5 ad copies that I wrote myself for clients that pay me, I charge very low consulting fees, and I have clients that engage me. And so I help them with their ad copy. We do 5 ad copies. And the one I think is lazy and I know won't make it is 10-to-1 more successful than all the rest. You can't tell what the consumer is going to click on. And when that click ad hits, then we put more money on that fire to make a bonfire. And so testing is what works. And you have different strategies for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google. So if you get nothing out of this broadcast, but don't run the same ad strategy in Facebook that you run in LinkedIn that you run in Google. That isn't the way you do it. You do separate, targeted to these market in different cultural responses, and you have to know a little bit about it. The experts give that to you. You can learn that quick. It doesn't cost a lot. And then you've protected every dollar works like $5 instead of $5 works like $1, which is what Ron's trying to protect you from.
I love it. And thank you for that as well. But I agree with you, because and sometimes like people will use services like Hootsuite or Buffer or these other ones, right? And the services, there's nothing wrong with them. But when they create one ad or one post and then they put it up there and it goes to all these different platforms, it might save them time. But those platforms, their audiences are different, their people are different. Their ads should not be identical for all those platforms.
That's absolutely right. You want to test different images as well as messaging, because there's emotional capital in the images you choose. And what we want is the right combination. And it just takes a little testing. It's not hard. It's kind of fun. It's the most backboning job of that CEO. What's your next priority? Find what will bring in that income. So you spring forward financially by June. You want to be going and really roaring as we go into the spring, this April and May. You don't want to wait. And so get your marketing message crafted up a little bit, reset it. This is a time to reset and explore. And then I tell you, like the British gentleman who's #1 in the Google space, when he takes a client, he helps craft the ads, does the test, and he charges nothing except a percentage of what you made in profit. He takes a percentage of your profit. If he doesn't deliver, he doesn't get paid. That's how I think vendors should work. In other words, they all want to have you bet on them. And if they fail, they're having a warm meal and you lost your money. I want vendors to bet on themselves as much as our money's betting on their trust.
I love it. And that's
they won't do it. I think that's the new model when you're shopping, is get vendors who will charge you based on outcomes and results. Right. Some can't. When you do a program that you charge for, or we do, our fixed costs are so high. We have to offset them to a charge to the audience. I mean, we've charged $10,000 for a corporate membership to get into a full CO space, say Tuesday to Friday of this week, for $950. That is an insurance policy. Your income will not drop 50% by this summer. Yep. See, what I think you have to realize is when you have I call it a whirlpool in the Pacific. So you'll hear that in my blog a lot. And it's sucking all the capital out of the markets. And that whirlpool is, just recently sucking out so many jobs. And when you look at, our rising to 30, 40 million unemployed, this is way above 2008.
Yep.
You don't just come back. They're not just called back. They're not going to hire them back. In fact, they're going to automate. We're going to virtual sell. We're going to work from home like never before. I look at all the high-rise offices of all the cities, and I think 50% of you are gone. They're not going to pay to have you in a place because they got as much value. They got more hours of quality work at home. Why are we paying for all that? So they're going to cut that back. What is that going to do to commercial real estate in malls when we're not going back? They can say social distancing's over. All of us go to the mall. Nobody over. The people that have the money that are 50 and up, we're not going back to the mall. Not that they have a vaccine and this is over. What goes on to the rents when nobody's there? What goes on to the office space? That collapse is still coming. You want your business to look at a potential worst case where the economy is really in a 29 depression. The world is all depressed in economics all at once. Never happened before. Much worse in 1929. And it's rippling. Now, you can make fortunes during this time. So remember, a guy was having a beer with his buddy who was laid off in a soup kitchen with his 4 kids with a fold-up table that was a card table in the kitchen that was his living room too. And he saw him playing a game on the table on paper where he'd written it out on colored crayon. He asked, after many times playing it, if he could buy the rights to the game for one price. And the guy sold it to him for a couple $100, which was like $25,000 in those days. I mean, it was big money. And don't think it was just small at 250. But that guy took it over to Parker Games and they launched it. And in the 30s, he was making $1 million a year.
Wow.
On Monopoly.
Nice.
And what I like to tell you is entrepreneurs start up in the bleakest times and make unbelievable unicorns and fortunes from ideas as just give us relief from the pain we're in with a game like Monopoly. And everybody played capitalism and gained hope again of we'd come out of this. And a lot of people playing the game, not a little number here, you're talking 21 million started businesses. That created the entrepreneur age we're still in.
I'm one.
Yeah,
That was one of my favorite games growing up.
but it created for us an entrepreneur economy. And really, our 40 million small businesses are the backbone that picks up all these that are getting laid off. Also, the small businesses are being added to. And so right now, we were running about 50,000 small businesses a month. Now we're running 516,000 a month, new businesses, because all these millions laid off, 500,000 a month, they're not going back to work. They're starting their own business. Smart. That's what they should do. This is the opportunity, because they're not going to be called back to work. And I wish the government would give us all a check for $7,500 a month, give us a nice living wage. I'd like that. And I can do a lot with that and make the other money on top and pay taxes. But I don't think they're going to do that. They seem to have trouble getting my $1,200 check out.
Because they got people's names.
I got all these people that got their check. I haven't got mine yet.
And neither have I, including people who are fully working, employed, and they're.
Well, I got an email saying, "Don't worry, it's late. You're going to get it." Yeah. And I thought, "Oh yeah, fine." It's like showing when you think of what a best, but when you also think they just passed a law for several $100 billion to go out. Imagine the people that have to be in place to manage several $100 billion brand new dollars, and they placed it all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now that partnership of banks and government, that can't happen anywhere in the world. So come back to America, and I always say, you want to go bitch in election year about what's wrong with this country? Here's the truth. I wish the personality, a little entertainment from The Apprentice would go away. And I wish we had respectful leaders for each other on policy. But when you get done, I know these people. I know Trump and Biden, and I knew Obama and Bush. And I'm saying, we lobby for small business. They're all doing the best they know how. And Trump's doing the best he knows how. Biden's doing the best he knows how. They're doing the very best they know how. And I tell you, as we go forward, you can bitch about this country all you want if you're hearing this in America. But what's right about this country, your country, will always fix and repair what's wrong with it. This country, the pendulum always swings back faster than any country in the world. So there's a lot wrong with it, and we're all correctly, chipping around like the Music Man. Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, chip, 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 chip. We're doing that all over the country. Germany just had a please ban social gossiping because you're all having these orgies of discussions. They're upset because they're complaining like we are. They want change. So I'm saying we have an election, vote your change at governors and county commissioners and presidents, and do your thing in America. And I say, I hope you cancel my vote, but vote out there, folks. This is our country. Vote as you've never voted in numbers you've never voted. Your vote does matter. It does count, and more this year than any year in our history. So I don't care who's president. I care that a record number of Americans voted for him.
Nice.
That's what I care for.
All right. I'd like to go back a little bit to when you were talking about Amazon stuff. I don't know. We got a double echo going on here, but I agree with you 100% in terms of the world has changed as we know it, right? We all
look at Amazon. I mean, you just brought up. I mean, look at the big change. Amazon never felt it was going to have. It has a percentage of the whole market, with Walmart having the biggest share, and now it's switching over to Amazon at percentage levels Walmart never saw, nor did Target. Right. Now they're doing a great job too, by the way. Both of them stocking us in this time period. All three of them. Those three companies are saving our bacon around the United States right now.
Yep, and Amazon just in the last, now it was about $1,800, $1,900 stock, but it's up to $2,400 right now. And
well, of course it is. They're charging $30 for toilet paper.
Right. Well, no, they're just getting a piece. Other people are actually charging. But
I know, but I mean, it's a bigger piece. When toilet paper was $12, and now it's $30.
And here's a great thought about Amazon. Now, we know Amazon basically started in his garage, as some other companies did. But how Amazon makes money is they kind of solve a problem. We can get onto all that. But two things I wanted to say. But them and Shop.com, Shop's up like $50 today too. They're up like almost 10%. So these
there are all sorts of health companies, tech companies, auto delivery companies.
Yes.
There are great values in the marketplace. The problem is the market is a whole.
Right.
And we have such terrible news with about 80% of the market that we have to consider it's a pig of bad news inside the python. And it has to work its way out through the election and begin to come out the other side in 2021. So if you're investing in high quality dividend stocks, or, as opposed to growth alone and speculative and gambling, but if you're investing in 60-month plays with high quality companies that will benefit from pandemic, your 60-month plan is just as good as any plan. It doesn't now you probably get the better buys on getting buy the dip when it's right for you in those companies,
right,
and stay away when it's up at these what I call fool's rallies.
All right.
Because these fool's rallies will dump you down. The bad news, see, we're getting a lot of news from the Christmas holidays. We're going to get the real news of how bad this is in June.
Yep.
And when you start seeing those June numbers for this second quarter, you're going to see a depression in stock prices worldwide. But that's a temporary effect. And say, do you wait for that valley and then buy at the lowest dip, or do you buy in a kind of aberration over multiple buys, dollar cost average? I think you're safe on any 60-month investing. I think you're at great risk if you're investing in 60-day investing.
Right. And that's great. But I love that, because people have a lot of money in their 401ks and mutual funds. But the point that I was trying to get to with Amazon and Shop.com is that people are using them so much more now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are,
Zoom.
Zoom, because we are in fact locked down. So when we come out of this, what you were saying about the malls and people not going back to the malls, our way of life, we were already using.
But you take Zoom. Zoom got 5 years of growth in 5 months.
Yep. And so
it's just beyond Amazon too.
Yeah, our way of life. Now, we were already starting the process of using those, but our way of life now.
Look at Microsoft earnings on their web chat. Look at Cisco's earnings on their web chat. All the web chat facilities, they're just rising. Their stock is just, their earnings reports are surprising the experts, and they're coming out with better earnings. So now, be an earnings picker. There are earnings that the pandemic benefits, the wind in their sails, invest in them.
Okay.
And you'll do great. And this is probably one of the greatest times for investors in the history of modern times. Just like, where were the biggest fortunes made? It was during the Depression. The people that invested smartly at the bottom made fortunes as it came back.
And again, I agree with that 100%. And also Bill Ackman, he invested $28 million, and in 2 days it was worth over $2 billion. Now, he didn't create the scenario that happened to him. This was just like a couple of weeks ago. He didn't create the scenario, but he saw what was happening. And as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, he went into that. And one of the points I wanted to make about Amazon is, Amazon doesn't really create much of anything. What it does is it creates a platform, and other people who create and sell stuff, they get a piece of the pie. So when people are thinking about different jobs or different opportunities, they don't necessarily have to go out and create the item. They just have to create and facilitate the people who need the item and the people who have the item, and then just take a piece. Or they can see something, some service that's out there that's doing really well, but just look and say, well, maybe they could do a little bit better if they had this tweak or this app, or
I'll tell you
they could add this and create that. They'll either be bought out or brought in as
people don't understand what you just said, and it's very important they understand it, which is, if you are working as a daughter in high school, now that you're homeschooled, and you're doing your tests online, and you make beaded jewelry and sell it on Amazon, your brand is a fortune company the day you list it on Amazon, and you're global the minute you start. And that's without any advertising. And Amazon sells services, Amazon sells every MLM you ever saw the product. It's also available on Amazon because the downline distribute it. It's like you can get anything on any basis on Amazon, and it's just growing as people go into it, and it's becoming the marketplace of the world. And you can also advertise in Alibaba. You can do both and pick up Asia, which that's Asia's Amazon. And Amazon's over there too, but Alibaba's bigger in Asia than Amazon. So you can list your products with both. I'm saying make so much money. You never had these opportunities like today. Now think the percentage that are buying from Amazon was a certain percentage of the consumer marketplace, about 13% or so. Now it's rising up to 40. They never thought they'd go 3 times up in 4 months.
I know.
I mean, you've just got to follow Super Change, that book I told you. You might get that. I tell people, get 10 for your best clients, and they will help you by repeat buying and referral marketing because you gave them a gift.
Nice. Tell us about the book. Tell us about that book a little bit.
Okay, Super Change is the leader's reader. It's a book that defines the new age called economic convergence that we're going into. And it tells you what the industries are of the convergence. And that tide lifts all boats. That's why I'm not worried about the 1929 event. I think it could be 36 months just like that, but not 12 years. I think we'll come right back out and up because of the enormity of capital and cash waiting for the break in the market, and they'll come roaring back in. And it's driven by AI. So 96% of all the trades, there is no investor. When the news say the investors are investing in pools run by AI. AI is doing all the trading. So that never happened before. We're in a new economy called the AI economy. All economists that are giving you information about what I learned and what they learned when we went through our training, that doesn't apply anymore. We're in a brand new economy, AI economics. And we don't have regulations yet. We need a G100 new regulatory framework to moderate greed. So we don't have a Wells Fargo bank in multiple crimes paying $9 billion. That's a lot, $9,000 million in criminal fines. And no one goes to jail for making phony accounts and ripping off us because I bank with Wells Fargo. So do I blame them? Yeah, I started with Wachovia. They merged them. And Wachovia was the business blank. I grew up in San Francisco. I knew Wells Fargo well. And I felt it was losing some controls, and that proved right. So in a super change environment, new systems have to be put in place. And if a bank's criminal, and how many banks have pled to criminal, felonies? All of the big ones, multiple times. And I just point out, we can do better than that. We need a system that has ethics and integrity. We don't have to worry about our banks being criminal. And so we have a lot of reforms to do to make sure that changes. And I'm just saying in the pandemic, all that's rising up as agendas, that people want change, like we always do. When bad things happen, we want to make sure it never happens again. We think, gosh, we spent a lot of money on getting ready for a pandemic. And the whole world's a mess, every nation for itself. Where's the coordination? Where's a G100 agency plan? Who was terrible? They still haven't got the raw virus. I mean, how could that be in 2020? How could that be? How are we not cooperating? Why are we competing? Why don't we cooperate?
I love it. In closing, I want to be respectful of your time, but I'd like to ask you if there's 3 things, not just now. I mean, this is a very, I don't want to minimize this, but this is a very important time. But this video, someone might see, 3 years from now, right? So what are there 3 things that a business owner or an entrepreneur could do now, irrespective of this environment or because of this environment, to increase their success in business, to either launch, scale, or grow their business, regardless of what level they're at? So can you give us like 3 tips? And I'm going to large screen you.
Tip number 1, and my wife does this in a program you can join up. It's been free, by the way, but it's a 4-day program on how to put systems that automate repetitive functions and free up your time. So there's nothing you're doing in which most of it can't be removed that is taking your time and is not income productive. anything that's not income productive and repeats. Can we systematize that, outsource it with Free Up and other outsource agencies at very low cost, and you're out of that. You've freed up so much time, and that goes back into the income account of your company. Next, free up all cost. Everything that's not essential, cut it. Overcut and reinstitute expenses, but bring your expenses down and free up the free surplus cash. Find it and get it. So you can do what you just heard from Ron, advertise and test. Crank up your advertising and testing with new marketing messaging. And that priority of keeping you self-corrected continuously to stay away from busy, habitual, time-claiming work of the boss, move you into freedom so that you can generate the future of the business, keep yourself there, and then maximize how you're going to keep it profitable, keeping expense down and profit margin up, and be a margin hound dog. Be a margin hound dog. Really look at your margin every 3 months and protect, guard, and improve your margin of profit. That'll hold you well. Then test market your flow dynamics and make your message so it's unforgettable. Your brand message in this next 3 years should be unforgettable. It's so powerful. Nice. Make sure that you have looked at developing and upgrading your market message to the consumer today in a super change market. Get that book, and you'll have the tools to do it. And then test, market, and then pour gasoline on the winning ads. When you spend 10 grand and you're making 50, get a credit line for 100 and make $1 million. Never say no to growth. Make sure systems always keep your quality up and never say no to growth. So growth is your resale price of your business, and build that growth up with unlimited growth for tomorrow.
I love it. And that ties in. It's so important. All that goes right back to the fundamentals of being able to work on your business and not in your business. And if you're getting bogged down doing things you can pay somebody in the Philippines $4 an hour for, I mean,
absolutely,
you're killing yourself.
Absolutely, it's killing you.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, I think one of the things that I love about Ron, and we send so many people to him, is Ron, and when you hear this, if it comes across you as a divine appointment, explore Ron's offerings, because he gives you tools and tactics, and he gives you solutions you can work on immediately. And think of Ron as the double line. So as you start picking up speed, you'll never hit the curb. One mistake can cost 50 grand, 5 grand. Not making that mistake is what you paid Ron to do, so that you went forward faster without making the mistakes. That's priceless in business. And there are very few programs that honestly do that. And Ron's is one of our top 3 recommendations. And I'll tell you, he's got a fatal illness. He doesn't think of any person that ever pays him as a client. He cares about that client. He cares that they do well. I've watched it.
I love it, man. Thank you. And that's all true. And I had a lot to say, but you took away from me. I was sitting here, but excellent. Thank you so much. And I highly recommend CEO Space too. And one thing I want to talk about is when you talk about loss of opportunity, you're right. So you can, let's say you're a web developer, or you're a copywriter, or you think you are, but you're really a plumber. That's your sweet spot. That's what you do. Or you're a business coach. You don't do websites. You don't do copy. You don't do any of these other things that build your business, right? To kind of like pick it up, put it down stuff. It's very important, but it's not your genius zone. So when you're trying to do that and you try to learn that, what happens is whatever you produce will be inferior to what you can get somebody else to do. But now you've lost the opportunity, because those 5, 10, 15, 20 hours you spent producing that inferior product or part of your service, you could have paid somebody, $10 an hour, $20 an hour, whatever.
They would have done it in less time. You took longer time, and then you lost all these sales because you have an ineffective
that opportunity.
It is a funnel working machine.
Yep, it's that loss of opportunity. I try to tell people, if your average package is $5,000, your lifetime value of a client is $5,000, right? And which is not a lot for most businesses, but it could be $50,000, it could be $1,000, but let's say it's $5,000. and it takes you 3 hours on average to talk to the client, to get them the contract, or, whatever it is, and you spent 20 hours, 30 hours doing something that you could have paid somebody $1,000 to do total. If you figure 30 hours, 6 clients at $5,000 each, you just lost 30,000.
Well, that's
not
what
to mention the referrals.
They don't see it. Working with small business, they don't. They come to us and we teach them. They hear ROI. Some of them know it, but most can't read their own financial statement. And I'm saying we get them to run their business by the numbers, and they get control back, and they have control. What do you and I give them? The ability to have prediction and control of forward profits. We accelerate their growth. That's what we do. And we give them real tools, real tactics. I think the difference of CO Space is you get customers, you get clients, you get sponsors for your show. You get
often in the room.
No, that's what I'm saying while it's going on.
Yeah.
And so that's because we're transactional. You're always engaged with each other at CO Space because we're doing business. We're a business building machine. Yep. We build businesses. That's why Forbes and Inc. magazine ranked us number 1, 2010 to 2020, every year in a row. Over, the other companies on that list are South by Southwest, HubSpot, they're giant, Salesforce, Fortune companies we admire. And our little family-owned company's number 1 ahead of all of them. Tony Robbins keeps saying, how do I get on that list? And, it's like, it's wonderful that we're there and we've been there so long, but we work, boy, to be number 1 and stay there. You've got to improve your program all the time or they won't keep you there. Yeah. And so we are always making the quality of the program rise to the market today. I think you do that. And a lot of people are teaching what they taught back in 2005, Ron, and you're teaching 2025 stuff today.
Yep. Yeah, because you got to be ahead of it. You got to be ahead
of it in super change.
Yeah, if you don't
make leaders love and embrace super change, and all the rest are resistant. And today, it's fatal in business to be resistant because the super change is only accelerating. We all wanted it to slow down so we could catch up. It's not slowing down. It's massively speeding up. Yeah. We have to calm down and be more objective. And what you said, you've got to have 3 to 4 times a year as the owner of a business, you get together within whichever group you choose, that you will work on your box and get out from under your box. Because we see from standing back there with you how you're zigzagging toward the goal line of what you're trying to reach. We straighten the box. So you go straight to the goal line and stop zigzagging. You can't do it without help and support, and you have to do it because the market's changing so rapidly. What we're going to do for this year and Christmas after pandemic is nothing like we're doing between now and June to get urgency behind client buying patterns so you get your sales and revenue in now. We're going to have our clients triple their income and double their time off in the next 3 years. And I'll tell you, those that don't have us, Ron, they're not doing that.
Yeah, I love it.
They may drop their income by 50% because they didn't squeeze out a little time for us. We're the insurance, their income won't drop 50% by the summer. If you hear this, when you go to Ron's website and investigate what he's offering you, it's an insurance policy. Your income won't drop 50% by the summer. And I'm Berny Dohrmann, and I founded CO Space, and I endorse this message for Ron.
Wow, thank you. I'm going to have to go through and splice all that, pull it out.
I mean it. I'm serious. I think it's such a blessing for everybody that gets you.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree with you 100%. If you don't make your own products or services obsolete, somebody else will. You have to constantly be innovating and thinking ahead, 3 to 5 years ahead. Your own industry, even 6 months, a year, 18 months.
I tell you, in pandemic, CO Space, we elected in December when it started. We knew it was coming. We predicted it. And we've done the biggest upgrade reorg of our entire history, because we see it as a new market and we want to be out there serving the business owners in an exciting solution dynamic where they get just what they need right this minute, because they're starving for it. Nobody has it. Who's offering pandemic prosperity planning? Nobody. CO Space was first. We gave the first one in March, sold out, and we're doing another one this week. And we are not sold out, but that we only had 4 weeks from March. In other words, normally we have 2 months to build a program. We just did one in 4 weeks, and it's still full because everybody wants it. They're so hungry for it. They said, don't space them 2 months. We need to get into these every month because lifetime membership, you can come back every month and get new customers.
Yeah, I love it.
In home confinement, we can get you more customers you used to get on networking.
That's huge, and people need that right now because there's a huge sense of loss right now. Can you give us a little bit of it? How, if somebody wants to take that course this week coming up, how can they get access to it?
They just go to cospaceinternational.com or cospace.net if you want a little lower footprint and look at it, see a video. I'd see Bob Proctor's video in our video section because he talks about these are crazy times. The markets are changing like you've never seen at speeds you've never known. We've got to get on top of this. Let me tell you how to do it. And so that film will tell you everything we do, and all that you see there we're doing virtually. Every aspect of it. When he talks about deal meals to make deals, we're doing that virtually. You're in small meeting rooms with each other doing real business. And then you meet the mentors one-on-one and privately to work on your business plan specifically, no charge, all included. And so we're developing better plans while we're delivering customers, joint venture partners, markets, alliance, affiliates, real business. And it goes on for a year after the first one. I mean, it never ends, that sucker.
Yeah, so today is April 20th. So if someone doesn't see it now for this week coming up, they can certainly still go to ceospace.com.
There are events. There are two events. They're free events happening all the time in between them. Excellent. Come to one of the free events, kick the tires, get into the big event. They're not expensive and you'll make money. You're always in high profit, high return investing. So if you put up a tax dollar with CO Space, and you make $10 back, why wouldn't you put up the tax dollar?
All day. It's a business write-off. And I just want to...
But you're going to make it back. You're going to get it back. We're not going to give you your money's worth. That's the 1,100 other programs. Yep. We're going to get you your money back.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. When I went, the very first time I went to CEO Space, in the room, before I even left, I had signed contracts 5 times what I paid to join CEO Space, and I have a lifetime membership. And that was my first time I went there. I had 5 times, and I've certainly been there since then. But that first time, I made 5 times what it cost me to join and get my lifetime. But in addition to just the money that I got back, like you're saying, the people that I got to meet going forward. And what I've learned to grow my business is you can't even put up. I wouldn't even be able to put a price.
CEO Space is the connectory of all the missing resources and critical contacts. If you can say I need this, you'll get it out of CEO Space right away. So it's the most amazing superstore of the connection tissues of everything you want anyway, and it's a lot of fun. But our stories are just like you heard. Why are we #1 at Forbes? Why are we #1 at Inc. magazine? Why are we #1 on 22 other press platforms worldwide, all countries, 200 countries we serve, for 10 years in a row, #1? And the answer, you just heard it. Ron just told you. I put up my tax dollar and I got this multiple on return. It's just the one place you go to where you actually make money while you're doing it. People are looking for that. Our biggest problem with y'all is 32 years later, you go, oh, it's too good to be true. And I'm saying, we've spent so much in sums that I don't want to even put a value to, it'll stun you, to make it the best in the world. The investments that we've made over 3 decades. So we've had the best of the best helping us, and we work every 3 months to make it better. 4 times a year, it's an all new event.
I love it. Bernie, tell us again, in closing, can you tell us how people can learn more about that program? How can they learn about you more?
Yeah, I'd make ceospace.net a bookmark, and I'd go back and share it with others that need to grow faster and have help. I'd go to bernydohrmann.com for everything you never wanted to know about the pandemic, and it'll keep you up. It's what is really going on out there. When you subscribe, it's free for my life, not yours. And so when you subscribe, leave comments. How do I do this? How do I do that? And I will mentor you. I will respond and mentor, just ask. So I give free consulting on the site. and it's there for you with. So, I mean, if you start reading back to December, you'll see the most accurate site, 57 predictions on pandemic, 100% accurate, with state, nation, and agency 100% wrong, not right once. And we documented it.
I love it, man. Not wrong once. All right. I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, I was hoping for 30 minutes to enlighten people. You gave us just over almost an hour right now. So
I think we got a historic show in the middle of this pandemic to help people and turn the light on for them so they don't hit the rocks when they come in the Golden Gate and anchor at the pier. Let's get them to safe harbor so they can do their business and keep them off the rocks of pandemic.
I love it. Now, you've been listening to Berny Dohrmann. He's the founder of CEO Space International on the Success Secrets Revealed live stream show from Ronald Couming, which is sponsored by RCS Online Solutions, where we help you, business owners and entrepreneurs, attract, convert, and retain your ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success, often before you even pay us a penny. Berny, thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much, Ron.
Yep. Bye for now.